typical Australian, New Zealand fashion, I suspect that Russell may have brought a spoon. But has everyone got a knife? Hey, just want you to have a look at your knife and consider the knife. And what we're going to do here is a brief exercise, and it's just, I want you to increase your connection to yourself and feel how questions or thinking may feel slightly different. Just take your attention to that knife. There are many knives. Just thinking about your knife. That knife could be dangerous. That knife could be really handy.
That is.
Just take your attention to how good that knife can be. Now, you could hurt yourself with that knife. Accidentally cut yourself with that knife while peeling an apple. And you could peel an apple, couldn't you? You could do a lot of things. A knife used skillfully. Yep. I wonder if your thoughts are quite different. Perhaps someone else in your house thought you were crazy going to Zoom with a knife. Do knives hurt people?
The person using them does.
The person who uses a knife? Who uses a knife?
Most people.
Everybody uses a knife.
Now, just for a moment, I want you to think and realize you have a knife in your hands. I just want you to think for a moment again. You're a dangerous person. You're a skillful person. Now, just be aware of how that feels different compared to when we talk about different types of knives and what you can do with a knife. If we start to think we're a dangerous person or a good person or a bad person, the feeling's different. Some people will really feel the internal differences. If you asked me this question a few years ago, I'd think that you're crazy. There's a difference, it's hard to say. But when someone says to you, you have a knife in your hand, or they say to you, you're dangerous. They're very different, aren't they? And you can come back with the thing we call reframes. Now, I want to hear some reframes here because you guys will already know some reframes. What would you do if I said, you're dangerous?
No, I'm not.
A lot of people are dangerous.
Just
Why am I dangerous? Why am I dangerous?
I like Janine's initial reaction, kind of defensive. Kind of defensive, right? Completely
Yeah,
respectful. And then Japan goes straight into the reframe. And was it Mark that gave a second bit of a reframe?
Yeah, I said, why am I dangerous?
Yeah, anyone else got another reframe for it?
Why do you think I'm dangerous?
Sorry.
No, I'm safe.
Why do you think I'm dangerous?
May I look like dangerous, but I will use it for other purposes.
I would say it's very perceptive of you.
What about a reframe involving time?
Observer. No, I
Yes,
like my
Chris?
initial.
I said, what about a reframe involving time?
I'd ask, what have I done to make you think that way?
Yep, that's a good one.
Everybody
Not
is
today.
dangerous sometime or the other.
That's a good one to pond too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Note the pictures here. They both have a picture of a knife. But this is what we call framing in NLP. What do you think when you see the first picture of the knife? BBC News. That's clearly not Iron Chef, right? That looks dangerous. That's what we call framing in NLP. The BBC article is actually about the Iron Chef. He's just about to start cutting potatoes. Would you believe it? So anyhow, something's going on here, guys. And it's not just my challenge with technology. When we consider about the knife, our attention is out to the knife. The knife's dangerous. You can hurt yourself. And we start to move the attention back to ourselves. And we start to move the attention more and more back to ourselves. The attention can go from the knife and back to ourselves. Now, the very same way in coaching, someone might say to you, I don't have enough money, or I don't have enough time. What they're presenting is a problem. I don't have enough time, or I don't have enough resources. It's quite different to someone coming to you saying, hey, I'm not very good at time management, or I'm not very good at money management. As a coach, not many people come to me saying, I'm not very good at money management. They don't come to me saying, hey, Adrian, I want to be better at managing my money. People don't say that. They often come in with this presenting problem or a presenting challenge, and it might be on the level of, I don't have enough money. And maybe they're more comfortable saying that rather than saying, hey, I never learned how to handle money as a kid, or I never learned how to be successful at managing money. Chris shared a beautiful reframe with me the other week. It was about a man who thought he was rejected. And this man thought he was rejected. And Chris did a reframe where the man thought that he was betrayed. And through that slight reframe, his belief went from being rejected to being betrayed. And there was a big shift, wasn't there? There was a huge shift. So there was a change in the area of belief. I was rejected to I was betrayed, and his whole body just changed. A change on a level of belief caused this bigger change in his identity. Now, question, if someone doesn't have enough money and you give them $5 or you give them $500, is that going to fix the problem? Over what time frame? It might fix the problem for a few minutes, but they're going to end up back in the same place, aren't they? Well, most likely. And that's because of the whole inner subjective world, which we're about to map out. Chris, you want to share anything before I bring up the model?
I'd like you to just think about the difference between two things that I'm going to present to you. A gentleman, let's say his name is Chris, goes on a first date with someone, and the typical question, so, would you like to tell me about yourself? To which Chris says, I'm an accountant, I was born in Brisbane, my parents divorced, and I went to boarding school. Those 4 things. That's an assessment of this character of Chris. P.S. I'm not an accountant. Contrast that with the same question receiving the reply, I love discovery. I'm incredibly curious and I love to explore the world so I can meet new people and see new ways of interacting and experiencing the world that we live in. Which one of those 2 people would you prefer to have a second date with?
Second?
He's a bloke, so I wouldn't want a date either way.
Oh, come on.
I'll go with you.
Thank you, Tapan.
The one with possibility and not with necessity life.
But what I just pointed out there were 2 people operating from 2 different parts of what we're going to be talking about now, the neurological levels. Adrian, hit me.
It kind of fits in with Simon Sinek, only a little bit more authentic. So anyway, guys, this is one way of looking at what we're sharing, and we're going to get into a slightly bigger one. But this is the same model, okay? This model has more details. This is a more basic model. This is often presented as a pyramid. Now let's start in the top right where it says environment. Around you, you have your environment. When? Right now. Where around you? And your environment around you is a direct result of your behavior. Everyone is where you are because of what you've done. We might like to blame someone else like COVID, but we're actually where we are because of what we did. You came here on time today, you brought a chair, you turned on Zoom, that was your behavior, you did it. And do you guys know why you came here? Because you knew how to come here. You have the internet. You have the Zoom password. You have an ability to type. So you've opened up your internet browser. You've done a good job with the time. You're completely capable of managing time, working an internet browser. So you're able to turn on the internet and come into the Zoom room. So just on the right side there, your environment around you created by your behavior, the result of what you're capable of doing. Now, some people also find that they are procrastinating. So their behavior is procrastination. And the result is that their environment isn't the excellent and amazing environment they imagine because their behavior is, well, they're procrastinating, they're not hitting goals. But guess what? Everyone in here is capable of getting rid of procrastination. So just focusing on the right-hand side, can we see the 3 distinct separation? If you had to write that, put environment at the bottom of the page and behavior above it, capability above it. So environment is the very bottom. All around you on your feet, you have the environment, and your feet are where they are because of your behavior. So you see where we're mapping out the subjective world here so that we can all map it out. We can compare maps. We can use maps in all kind of ways. You could be a swimming coach who regularly helps people with their behavior, or you can help them with their capabilities and help them with better stroke. So if you teach someone better stroke, they've got better capability, but then you might want to keep coaching them to make sure their behavior actually demonstrates what you've taught them. And the result will be, hopefully their environment will change and they'll be on the #1 podium. But a really good coach won't just help someone swim. A really good coach will help the athlete believe in themselves. A really good coach will help you believe in yourself. Believe in yourself even more. And that's pretty much as high as performance coaches will go. So performance coach, swimming coach, you could say the swimming coach is working on the behavior level and up to the capability level, but really a good swimming coach or a speaker coach will help you believe you're good at it. Now, just quickly, how high can you raise your hand? That's it. That's as high as you go. How high can you raise your hand? A lot of the times I'll ask in a room, you know, how high can you raise your hand? And everyone will raise their hand like this, and then they look around, and then some of them start going like this, and then one person jumps on his chair, and suddenly people's belief changes, and someone else will stand on a chair, and then everyone will stand on their chair and get higher. Have you guys heard about the quarter-mile story? Is it the quarter mile or the 4-minute mile? There's a well-known story about the 4-minute mile. No one had ever raced or ran a mile in less than 4 minutes. Once that 4 minutes was busted, all across the news, 4-minute mile done. In the next years, countless people broke the 4-minute mile. Everyone thought it was impossible. But as soon as their belief changed, lots of people started breaking that 4-minute mile. I love having E here. E got one of her first paying clients really quickly, and it just showed everyone what's possible. Seeing her early success showed all of us, and it raised our belief on what's possible. Some people talk about limiting beliefs, and they want to coach people on the limiting belief level. You may also see here, values and beliefs are together, but values and beliefs are actually separate. But you can keep them together at the moment if it helps. When we get into more detail, or as we do some linguistic stuff, you'll start to recognize that beliefs are actually formed around values. And your values are formed around your identity. Okay, now some people will coach more on the value level, perhaps adjusting values. They might not worry so much about someone's behavior. Let's say someone's procrastinating. We can attack it on the behavioral level, or we can attack it on the beliefs level. We can also attack it on the values level. We can also maybe attack it on the identity level. Because if someone deep down, believes they're not worthy, or they're not good, That's going to be affecting their values, their beliefs, their capabilities, their behavior, and sadly, their environment. One of the things we'll do a lot as a coach is help people believe in themselves, because when they believe in themselves more and more, love themselves, respect for themselves, and guys, I'm Australian. At my school, anybody who loved themselves, we would tease them and insult them. In fact, it was an insult to love yourself. Like Chris might say, oh, Adrian, he loves himself. And I'd be like, oh, no, I don't. But in actual fact, when people do love themselves more, when their identity is more whole, and yes, I love myself, everything below it is affected. I remember all kinds of, sorry, I won't get into the stories. There's so many stories, guys. As a coach, if we help people shift their identity to loving themselves more, it may actually be more powerful and effective than giving someone $50. In fact, they say that most people that win lottery, they end up broke again just years later. But if you shift someone's identity around money, that they are capable of being a successful man, or they are capable of being rich, whatever that means, you could do a whole lot more good for the person than helping them win the lottery once. Above all this identity stuff, it's the who else is there. It's a connection above. And if we look at this in a different shape, this is the one that's commonly taught in ICF coaching schools and Ericksonian coaching schools, and coaching schools across the world typically use this model, but often not as much clarity. As I mentioned, they might put a couple of levels together. And it doesn't actually stop here at the top. It doesn't actually stop at spirituality, it just continues outwards. And it goes into more detail, but there's far more than enough detail in here. As a coach, we very rarely do anything up here in the kind of religious, kind of bigger than us context. So some of you guys might find yourself coaching a lot or having a lot of passion for values work. If you consider yourself to be more like spiritual and waking people up, maybe it's a spiritual level or identity level. If you have a particular product, like you help people get peak performance in money, or peak performance in a coaching course, or peak performance in some kind of area like swimming or public speaking, well, then you might just be working on the levels of belief down.